My name is Alara Vance, and I am 83 years old. For 61 of those years, I've lived in this farmhouse in rural Ohio. My husband, Arthur, and I bought it with our wedding money, and every scar in the wood, every creak in the floorboards, is a map of my life. Arthur's been gone for 12 years now, and the silence he left behind has become a heavy, suffocating blanket. You know, people see an old woman living alone on a farm and they think peaceful. They don't see the crushing loneliness. They don't see me sitting at the kitchen table, built for six, eating my soup alone, night after night. I've been a church-going woman my whole life, but if I'm honest, my prayers had grown thin. They felt like letters I was sending to an address I wasn't sure existed anymore. Ever since Arthur died, God felt as distant as the moon. I went through the motions. I read my Bible. I prayed for my family. But inside, my soul felt like this old farm in the dead of winter, cold, barren, and waiting for a spring I wasn't sure would ever come. That spiritual drought made what happened next even more painful. It was a Tuesday. I remember the air was heavy, promising a storm. I was trying to balance my checkbook, and the numbers just wouldn't add up. My pension barely covered the property taxes, and the roof had been leaking for a month. That's when the black SUV pulled up the gravel drive. My son, Corbin, and his wife, Serafina. I hadn't seen them in 3 months, not since they'd forgotten my birthday. Corbin shuffled in, his eyes darting around the room, landing on everything but me. He was a good boy once, but he'd let Serafina, with her sharp suits and sharper ambition, hollow him out. She glided in, her perfume so strong it choked the air, her eyes cataloging every flaw in my home, the peeling wallpaper, the water stain on the ceiling. She didn't see a home, she saw a tear down. Mother Vance, we need to be realistic, Serafina started, her voice smooth and cold, like a polished stone. She didn't sit. She presided at my kitchen table. She slid a glossy brochure across the oak. Golden Pastures Senior Living. My heart seized. The people on the cover were smiling, gray-haired actors, laughing over a game of shuffleboard. It looked like a hospital disguised as a cruise ship. It's for the best, Alara, she continued. This place is a money pit. You can't manage it. We can't manage it. The we was what broke me. They weren't here to help. They were here to take. We could sell the land to those developers from Columbus, she said, her eyes gleaming. It would set you up comfortably. Give you a nice nest egg. She was already spending it. I saw a new car, a vacation, a new kitchen in her eyes. I looked at my son. Corbin? I whispered. I just needed him to look at me, to say it wasn't true. He just stared at his $1,000 shoes. Mom, it makes sense. You're getting older. You need round-the-clock care. Care. They called it care. It was an eviction. They were my only family, and they were trying to put me away, to sell my life from under me so they could pay for their own. The betrayal was so profound, so complete, that my body couldn't hold it. The pain that started in my heart wasn't emotional. It was a hot, crushing vice. It felt like the old barn roof had finally caved in, right on top of my chest. The pain shot down my left arm, up into my jaw. I grabbed the table, the brochure for Golden Pastures fluttering to the floor. Mom? Corbin's voice sounded distant, like it was coming from the bottom of a well. I saw his face, pale with panic, and Serafina's, tight with annoyance at this inconvenience. I tried to say Arthur's name. But no sound came out. The last thing I felt was the cold linoleum of my kitchen floor on my cheek. And then, everything went black. I wasn't unconscious. I wasn't dreaming. I was more awake than I had ever been in my 83 years. The blackness lasted only a second, and then it dissolved, as if I had passed through a velvet curtain. I opened my eyes, expecting to see the cracked ceiling of my kitchen or the sterile white of a hospital room. Instead, I found myself standing in a place that my mind simply could not comprehend. I was no longer in my old, aching body. The pain in my chest was gone. The arthritis in my hands, the stiffness in my knees, all of it had vanished. I looked down, and I didn't see feet. I just saw me. A form made of a gentle, warm light. I was standing in a place that made every cathedral on earth look like a child's drawing. The walls, if you could call them that, weren't made of stone or wood. They were made of living light, a soft, golden glow that seemed to pulse with a life of its own. The floor beneath me felt solid, yet when I looked at it, it was like a river of liquid diamonds, flowing and swirling with colors I had never seen and have no words to describe. Above me, there was no ceiling, just an endless sky of deep, brilliant indigo, like the color of twilight, but alive. And the music, oh, the music. It wasn't coming from an organ or a choir. It was coming from the air itself, from the light in the walls, from the diamond river at my feet. It was a sound of pure, unadulterated joy, and it vibrated inside my very being. I stood there, stunned, for what could have been a minute or 1,000 years. Time didn't exist here. All the bitterness I had felt toward my son, the cold anger at Serafina, the deep, aching loneliness of the last 12 years, all of it was being washed away. It was like standing under a waterfall of pure, unconditional love. Every dark corner of my soul was being filled with this light. I realized I wasn't just in the light was in me. And for the first time since Arthur died, I wasn't alone. I felt a presence so vast, so powerful, and so completely, impossibly loving that I knew, with a certainty that went beyond thought, where I was. This was the place the preacher talked about. This was the home my withered soul had been starving for. I was in heaven. And I knew he was here. I turned, and my soul fell to its knees. He was standing there. It wasn't the gentle, pale Jesus from the paintings in my church. It wasn't the broken figure on the crucifix. This was the risen King, the Alpha and the Omega, in all his glory. He was tall, and robed in a white that seemed to be woven from light itself, like the fabric of the walls. A golden sash was around his waist. His face shone like the sun, yet I could look right at him without being blinded. His eyes. Oh, his eyes. They were a universe of love, a depth of mercy and justice so profound that I felt completely and totally known. Every mistake I'd ever made, every bitter thought, every hidden sin, he saw it all. And he loved me anyway. The love radiating from him was what was holding this entire place together. It was the source of the light, the music, the joy. When he spoke, his voice was not a shout, but it had the power of 1,000 waterfalls. It was like thunder and a whisper combined, and it resonated in my very bones. Elara, he said. The sound of my name from his lips, it remade me. It was the name my mother and father gave me, the name Arthur whispered, but now I was hearing it as my Creator intended it. I couldn't speak. I just wept, though I had no eyes to cry with. It was a weeping of the soul, a release of 83 years of burden. My daughter, he said, and he smiled. That smile, it was pure joy. It was the joy of a father welcoming his child home after a long, hard journey. He walked toward me, and I saw his hands. The scars were there. The nail prints. But they weren't wounds anymore. They weren't gruesome. They were like windows, and pouring from them was the same brilliant, golden light that made up the walls. He held out his hand to me. I was 83 years old. I was a bitter, lonely old woman who had just died of a broken heart on her kitchen floor. And the King of the universe was holding out his hand to me. I took it, and the moment my light form touched his, a surge of pure, divine love shot through me. It was a fire, but it didn't burn. It healed. It healed the bitterness. It healed the doubt. It healed the part of my heart that had died with Arthur. I was whole. I was home. You have been faithful, Elara, Jesus said, his voice so kind it broke me all over again. I wanted to lie. I wanted to list my 60 years of church attendance, my tithes, my prayers. But in his presence, pretense was impossible. The truth, the real truth, poured out of me like water from a broken dam. No, Lord, I whispered, my soul bowing before him. I haven't been. I've been angry. I've been so angry since Arthur left. I've been bitter at my son for being weak. I've been hateful toward his wife. I've been going through the motions. My Bible has been gathering dust. My prayers felt like I was just talking to the ceiling. I died with a heart full of resentment. I lost you. Somewhere along the way, I lost you. I expected thunder. I expected a look of disappointment, of judgment. Instead, he did the last thing I ever expected. He smiled again, a smile of such deep, knowing compassion. He knelt, right there on the diamond floor. The Creator of all that is and ever will be knelt beside my small, trembling soul. He placed his scarred hand on my shoulder. Alara, he said, do you think I didn't know? Do you think your struggles were hidden from me? I was there when you cried into Arthur's pillow. I was there when you balanced your checkbook, your hands shaking with fear. I was there when your son's silence broke your heart. Your faithfulness is not measured by the fire of your feelings. It is measured by your willingness to keep walking in the dark. Your season of dryness, your drought, that was your preparation. You have been faithful in the silence. And that means more to me than all the loud prayers of easy seasons. I couldn't comprehend the grace. He wasn't mad. He understood. He had been there all along, even when I couldn't feel him. I'm so sorry, Lord, I wept. I'm so tired. I know, he said, and he stood, pulling me up with him. Your rest is here. But before you enter it, there is something I must show you. You must understand why. You must see what is coming. He extended his hand, not toward the glorious, light-filled city I could see in the distance, but out, into a darkness that had gathered at the edge of this heavenly place. A window opened in the air, and what I saw chilled me to my core. The window opened, and I wasn't looking at heaven anymore. I was looking down into a dark room, lit only by the blue-white glow of a computer screen. I saw my daughter-in-law, Serafina. But this wasn't the cold, perfectly put-together woman who had just condemned me. This woman was a wreck. Her hair was matted, her eyes red and swollen. Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely type. On the screen, I saw a website, Vegas Nights Online Casino. I saw flashing, animated slot machines. And I saw a number in a small red box. A negative number. A very, very large negative number. I watched, horrified, as she transferred the last of the money from an account I recognized, the college fund for my granddaughter, Chloe. She put it all on a single hand of virtual poker. The cards flipped. Dealer wins. The money vanished. Serafina let out a sound that wasn't a scream, it was a strangled gasp of pure despair. She slammed the laptop shut and buried her head in her hands. She is sick, Jesus said softly, standing beside me. She has a sickness of the soul. She is trapped by shadows, and her shame has turned her heart to stone. She believes your home is her only way out. I felt a small, unwanted flicker of pity. But my anger returned. She is a fool. She is destroying my son. She is stealing from my granddaughter. Yes, Jesus said, and his voice was heavy. She is. And her sickness has invited something far darker into your house. The vision shifted. I was no longer in Serafina's office. I was in a dark, concrete parking garage. I saw Serafina's black SUV. She was standing outside it, trembling, talking to two men. They were big, hard-looking men, not the kind she would ever invite to her country club. Their faces were shadowed, but their voices were clear. That's not what we agreed, one of them growled. You're short. You're short again. Serafina was pleading. I just need more time. The old woman, she's being difficult. Just a few more weeks. I can get the farm. The man laughed, a cold, dead sound. He pulled out his phone. We don't have weeks. Our boss isn't patient. He held up the phone. On the screen was a picture. My soul screamed. It was Chloe. My granddaughter. She was walking home from school, her violin case on her back, completely unaware. She's a pretty girl, the man said. Gets off the bus at 3:45. It would be a shame if she didn't make it home one day. Serafina collapsed against the car, sobbing. No, please. Not her. Take anything, but not her. We will take her, the man said, unless we get our money. 1 week. Sell the farm. Or you'll never see your daughter again. The vision of the parking garage dissolved, but my soul was still screaming. No! You can't let this happen. Chloe! My baby! Send me back! I have to save her. I was clawing at the light, a grandmother's protective fury consuming me. Jesus placed his hand on my shoulder, and a wave of calm, not peace, but calm, flowed through me. Ilara. What you see in your house is a symptom. It is a single drop of rain in a coming storm. Now, you will see why. The window expanded. It grew until it was all I could see. I was no longer looking at my family, I was looking at the world. It was like looking at a vast valley, just as the competitor script described. But it was filled with billions of people. They were all walking, but no one was looking up. They were staring into small, glowing rectangles in their hands, their faces bathed in blue light, their expressions empty. They were walking past each other, bumping into each other, but no one spoke. They were isolated, together. I saw people screaming at each other on screens, their faces twisted with a rage I had only ever seen in Serafina. I saw beautiful churches, grand buildings with steeples, but when I looked inside, they were empty. A few old women, like me, dotted the pews, while pastors preached to cameras, their hearts cold and their words hollow. They have forgotten me, Jesus said, his voice heavy with a sorrow so deep it shook the foundations of heaven. They have traded my love for flickering lights and empty promises. They worship themselves, their politics, their money. They are just as sick as Serafina, but they call their addictions culture. Then the vision changed again. Just as I thought my heart would break, I saw pockets of light. I saw a group of young people on a college campus, their hands raised, singing to him. I saw a man in a prison cell, on his knees, weeping over a worn-out Bible. I saw mother and father, their business bankrupt, praying at their kitchen table, holding hands. There is still a remnant, Jesus said, his voice strong again. There are those who have not bowed. And a revival is coming, Ilara. A great fire. But it will come after a great shaking. And the shaking is here. The vision shifted one last time, and it was terrifying. I saw floods where there should be deserts. I saw fires raging. I saw nations rising against nations, and the whole world seemed to be trembling in fear. This is what's coming, he said. A time of great sorrow. A time of choosing. The world is breaking, Ilara. I turned from the vision of the trembling world, my soul shaking. Lord, what can I do? I'm an 83-year-old woman. I'm dead. I'm nobody. I looked at the loan sharks threatening Chloe, and I looked at the entire, broken world, and the task felt impossibly large. I can't fix that, I whispered, pointing to the vision of the world. No, he said. But you can fix this. And the window changed, shrinking back down until it showed just one place. My farmhouse. My kitchen. It showed Corbin, sitting at the table alone, his head in his hands, a broken man. It showed Serafina, curled up in her dark office, drowning in her shame. It showed Chloe, in her bedroom, headphones on, feeling utterly alone, terrified of the tension in her house. "I am sending you back, Alara," Jesus said. My soul leaped. Back? But I'm dead. Your body is broken. It will be a great pain to return. But your 12-minute journey is over. Your mission is beginning. I am not asking you to save the world. I am asking you to save your world. That farmhouse is your ministry. That broken family is your commission. He looked at me, his eyes blazing with purpose. You will go back. You will not be the frail, bitter woman who died on the floor. You will return with the fire of this place in your bones. You will be a warrior for your family. You will expose the darkness, not with rage, but with my light. You will face the loan sharks. You will confront the addiction. You will heal your son. You will save the girl. Your faithfulness in the silence has prepared you for this. How? I asked, my voice trembling. How can I do all that? He leaned forward, and just as the nun described, he did something I will never forget. He leaned forward and kissed my forehead. It wasn't a physical kiss. It was a transfer of fire. A holy, divine energy that rushed through my entire being. Every cell of my light form was energized with his purpose, his strength, his love. You will not go alone, he said, his voice echoing with all the authority of heaven. I will be with you. You will speak, and it will be my authority in your voice. Now go. Your family is waiting. And tell everyone who will listen. I am coming. Sooner than they think. Tell them to get their houses in order. The light began to fade. The music grew distant. I'm not ready. I cried. I want to stay. His last words echoed as I began to fall, back into the cold, heavy darkness. Go. The best is yet to come for those who love me. The fall was instant and agonizing. The peace, the light, the warmth, all gone. I was slammed back into my body, and the first thing that returned was the pain. The crushing, blinding, breathtaking pain in my chest. I was freezing. I could feel the cold linoleum on my cheek. I heard a sound. Beep. 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 It was high-pitched, frantic. We've got a pulse. Sinus rhythm, a voice yelled. I don't believe it. She's been down for 12 minutes. Get the stretcher in here, now. I smelled antiseptic. A bright, painful light was shone in my eyes. I managed to groan. Ma'am? Ma'am, can you hear me? You're in your home. You had a severe heart attack. A paramedic was hovering over me, his face a mask of concentration. In the corner, I saw Corbin. He was as pale as a ghost, his hands shaking. Serafina was on her phone in the other room, her voice a sharp, angry whisper. What do you mean, that's not enough? She was hissing. I need more time. She was literally on the phone with the loan sharks while I was dying on the floor. The old Alara would have felt rage. But the new Alara. I just felt a cold, calm certainty. I was a soldier on a mission. They loaded me into the ambulance. Corbin rode with me, weeping. Mom, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. He was crying for himself. He was crying because he was weak. I just patted his hand, too weak to speak, saving my strength. At the hospital, they called me the miracle on 3rd Street. My cardiologist, Dr. Patel, was baffled. Alara, your heart was stopped for 12 minutes. Clinically, you were gone. There's no medical explanation for your recovery. No brain damage. Your vitals, they're stronger than they were last year. It's a miracle. I just nodded, sipping my water. God is good, I whispered, and the doctor, a man of science, just stared at me and nodded slowly. Yes, ma'am, he said. I think you might be right. I spent 2 days in that hospital, and I played the part of the frail, confused old woman. I let them fuss over me. I let Corbin feel guilty. I let Serafina pace in the hallway, her face getting tighter and more panicked with every phone call she took. She was annoyed I had survived. My miracle was her disaster. It delayed the sale of the farm. The men from the parking garage were closing in. The doctors, they want to send you to a rehab facility, Mom, Corbin said, wringing his hands. Golden Pastures. It has a great nursing staff. I let my eyes, filled with the fire of heaven, lock onto his. No, I said, my voice quiet, but as hard as steel. I am going home. I will recover in my own house, Corbin. You will take me home. He saw something in my eyes he had never seen before. For the first time in his life, he didn't argue. They drove me home. Serafina sat in the front seat, silent, vibrating with a toxic stress. Corbin helped me into the house, and I made a big show of being weak, leaning on my walker, shuffling my feet. I'm just so tired, I breathed. I need to rest. They tacked me into my downstairs bedroom. We'll stay in the guest room, Corbin said. Just to make sure you're okay. That's good, I whispered. That's real good. You stay close. As soon as I heard the shower running, I was up. The pain in my chest was real, but the fire in my soul was stronger. I didn't need to search for Serafina's laptop. I knew exactly where it was. I walked straight to the guest room, to the loose floorboard under the rug that Arthur and I had always used to hide our savings. She had found it. I pulled back the rug, slid my old fingernail under the board, and lifted. There it was. A slim silver laptop. I opened it. Password. In my vision, I had seen her fingers fly. I knew the password. It was Chloe 123. The most obvious, desperate, and heartbreaking password of all. I typed it in. Access granted. I didn't need to look long. The gambling sites. The loan agreements. The threatening, horrifying emails from the men. The pictures of Chloe. It was all there. I read the last email. 48 hours. Or the girl is gone. My mission was no longer about a few weeks. It was about today. I heard their footsteps upstairs. They were done showering. They were coming down. I didn't hide the laptop. I took it, walked into the living room, and sat in Arthur's old armchair. I turned on one small lamp and waited. They came downstairs, arguing in whispers. I'm telling you, Corbin, we have to sign the papers tomorrow. Sarah, I can't. She just died. She's fine. She's stronger than any of us. We need that money. They walked into the living room and froze. Serafina saw the open laptop on my lap, her face illuminated by the glow of her own dark secrets. All the blood drained from her face. She looked like she had seen a ghost. In a way, she had. Alara, she whispered, her voice shaking. What are you doing? Corbin fumbled for the light. Mom? What is that? What's going on? I didn't say a word. I just turned the laptop so he could see the screen. So he could see the email. The one with the picture of his daughter and the 48-hour threat. Corbin stared at it. He read it once. Twice. He didn't understand. Sarah? What is this? Is this a joke? Serafina finally broke. A terrible, wailing sob tore out of her. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, she shrieked, collapsing to her knees. Corbin looked at me, his face white with confusion and terror. Mom, what is this? Tell me. I looked at my son. I looked at the broken woman on my floor. And I spoke, my voice clear and calm and full of the authority I had been given. She's talking about the $230,000 she owes to loan sharks, Corbin. A debt she ran up on gambling sites. She's talking about the men who are going to kidnap your daughter in 2 days if she doesn't sell my farm. Serafina looked up, her face a mask of tears. How could you know? The laptop was, how? I leaned forward. Because I died, Serafina. When you handed me that brochure, my heart stopped. I was gone for 12 minutes. And in those 12 minutes, Jesus showed me. I saw your office. I saw your computer. I saw the parking garage. I saw the threat to Chloe. And he sent me back to stop it. He sent me back to save you. The room was dead silent. Serafina and Corbin just stared at me, frozen. The story was so impossible, so insane, that they knew it had to be true. I had recited their lives, their secrets, things I had no possible way of knowing. Corbin finally moved. He stumbled to his wife and grabbed her by the arms. Is it true? Is it all true? Serafina just wept, a broken, nodding confession. Corbin let go and backed away, his life crumbling around him. He looked at me, this weak man, my son, and his eyes were desperate. What do we do? Mom, what do we do? We have to call the police. Yes, I said, standing up from the chair. I didn't even use my walker. We will call the police. But not first. They looked at me, confused. What do you mean? Corbin stammered. I walked over to the open laptop, the source of all this darkness. I closed it. The room plunged back into the soft light of the single lamp. Your mother, I said to Corbin, is a symptom. She is sick, just like the whole world I saw. And the police, they can stop the men. But they can't heal the sickness. Only he can. I walked over to Serafina, who was still crumpled on the floor. I didn't yell at her. I didn't condemn her. I remembered the compassion in his eyes. I knelt, my 83-year-old knees cracking, and I put my hand on her shaking shoulder. Serafina, I said, my voice soft. Jesus sent me back for you. He knows all of it. And he loves you. He wants to set you free. Not just from these men, but from the shame. From the addiction. She looked up at me, her eyes wide with a fragile, desperate hope. I can't. I'm too far gone. No one is too far gone, I said. I was. My heart was cold and dead. And he brought me back. I looked at my son. Corbin. This house is broken. Our family is broken. We have to get our house in order. And it starts right now. I took Serafina's hand. I held out my other hand to my son. He hesitated, then he took it. He knelt on the floor beside his wife. And there, in the living room of my old farmhouse, with a 48-hour threat hanging over our heads, I did what I was sent to do. I began to pray. I prayed for forgiveness. I prayed for healing for Serafina. I prayed for strength for Corbin. I prayed for protection for Chloe. I prayed with the fire of heaven in my lungs, and for the first time, I knew my prayers were not hitting the ceiling. They were shaking the foundations. After I said amen, we all just knelt there, crying. It wasn't fixed. But it was different. The shame was broken. The light was in. Okay, I said, getting to my feet. Now, we act. For the next hour, we made a plan. Corbin would go get Chloe, tell her there was a family emergency, and drive her to my sister's in Michigan, where she would be safe. Serafina and I would take the laptop, the emails, the threats, and we would go to the police, together. The fight of our lives was just beginning. There would be court. There would be rehab. There would be bankruptcy. But the war for our souls, that had just been won. My 12-minute journey to heaven was shocking. But my mission here on earth has just begun. Jesus was right. The world is shaking. But he also showed me that even in the darkest valley, a single light, a single person willing to fight for their family, can bring the fire of heaven down to earth. And as for me, I'm 83 years old. I don't have many years left. But I can tell you with absolute certainty that Jesus Christ is real. He loves you more than you can imagine. And he is coming, sooner than you think. My question for you is your house in order? If this story touched your soul, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs to hear that it is never too late. Type "my house is in order" or "I'm getting my house in order" in the comments below. God bless you, and thank you for watching.